All right. Finishing the day strong. Honestly, I thought I'd be more tired by this point, but I actually feel pretty chill. What up, bro? Let's see. What
Oh,
up, bro? How you doing?
I'm doing well yourself?
Hair's longer.
Yeah, I just gave myself a little cut this morning.
Nice,
Trimmed
bro.
it up. Yeah.
Dude, I'm so glad that we connected. I love watching your PED.
Oh,
Uh, I
thank
love it. I love it. It's so inspiring.
It's getting more fun each time, just unlocking new movements, new shapes.
Dude, you don't know what you're doing. You have no idea. Like you're setting a standard.
Oh,
Yeah, you're
one
setting a
day.
standard. Yeah. Well, that's why I reached out to you. Um, you said that you had some thoughts that you wanted to share. Who wants to go first? You want to go
I
first or what?
want you to share what you got cooking.
Okay.
Then I might cook a little bit. I have a couple more like opinions or like just really good anecdotes,
Mm-hmm.
uh, analogies per se regarding like the professional bodybuilding industry and stuff like that. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Okay. All right. So I'll start. Okay. You already know that this is intended to be an anime that takes place 20 years in the future, right?
Yeah.
I like to work backwards and let's say for hypothetical purposes that the original Natty King roster is the first 30 Jedi to have ever existed. Like they're the forming of the first Jedi Council, right?
Yeah.
Which means that they were the ones who came up with the Force powers. They're the ones who came up with the lightsaber forms and stuff like that. Like they are the founding fathers as to like, when we're seeing Anakin Skywalker, Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yoda, they came from this moment in time.
Yeah.
Right. So if we're to use that frame of reference, I see posing as the equivalency to lightsaber combat.
Mm, yeah.
And you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously you've got free flow, improvisation, but what I see is currently missing from the posing landscape are actual forms, similar to like a lightsaber form, or if you want to
Mm.
go to martial arts,
Martial arts katas. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, that actually ties into exactly what I wanted to talk about too.
So I think we should create posing-katas.
Mm.
And have you ever seen Demon Slayer by chance?
No, I can't say I
You
have.
should check it out. Do you watch anime?
I mean, only like the OG, like Dragon Ball Z a little bit.
That's
And,
no.
Samurai Jack is one that I really
Samurai
want
Jack's
to
pretty good.
get into. That's a crazy storyline.
Yeah, Samurai Jack's pretty good. All right, so I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. Um, you've got the demon slayers. They're like samurai who are killing demons, right? But in order to kill a demon, you need two things. You need a let's call it a Hashira blade. I can't remember what it's called. Hashira blade. It needs to be like specifically crafted for the purpose of killing demons. Otherwise, it's not going to cut. And you need breathing forms or breath forms, right? So let's say there's 11 specific samurai who have learned their specific breath forms that are required to cut the head off of a demon, right? But they're all derived from a singular breath form. So, like, by the time that we're actually in the lore of the anime, it's been around for 100 years. You've got
Mhm.
11 Hashira samurai. One's got wind breathing form, another one's got fire breathing form, another one's got water breathing,
Yeah,
insect breathing, snake breathing, stone breathing, right?
yeah.
But they all originate from sun breathing. And
Mm.
that was invented like 100 years in the past, right? Posing-katas, we have an opportunity, the original 30 natural bodybuilders and like the community within this, natty empire that we're forming, we have an opportunity to create the original Posing-katas that will later be remixed, revamped, reshaped, and expanded upon
Mm.
in the anime by these future athletes that don't exist yet.
That is amazing. That's like kind of tying it into like the last Airbender and all. Oh,
Correct.
uh,
Correct. Yeah, and it'll drastically pump up the production quality and the animation
yeah,
because like if one athlete is really rooted in, let's say, an element,
yeah,
right, and like he's inspired by, let's just for arbitrary, like rocks, he's inspired
yeah,
by rocks.
yeah.
He can take our posing katas that we establish over the next couple of years and then expand on it and express it in the
Mm-hmm.
form of like he's visualizing himself through
As a
rocks,
rock. Yeah.
and we're seeing that. We're seeing that in the anime.
With the music song like song choice and like the
Yes.
more I can just see, yeah, Rock would be more like the bodybuilder, like that early 2000s bodybuilder, like
Hmm.
just boom, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So last thing I'll say on the note before we can like expand further.
Mm,
I was talking with my very close friend and roommate. Dude. All right. So back during Aristotle, and Aristotle. I don't know if you know this, but he was
mm,
actually an advisor of Alexander the Great. So he was there during that period of Alexander the Great, basically conquering the world. And
yeah.
his observations was there were three different forms of influencing a crowd as a great leader.
Mm,
So check this out, and I think this should serve as like the core basis for like our posing katas that can be expanded on in the future.
mm.
He's got pathos, ethos, and logos.
Logos. Yes.
You know this?
I mean, I'm familiar with the terms pathos, ethos, and logos. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So pathos is like rooted in emotional expression, and you're connecting with the audience in an emotional way. You're using compelling and emotionally resonating language and movements. If we're talking
Yes.
about posing, we're using like certain movements to elicit an emotional expression and emotional feeling, right?
Yeah.
Then logos is intellectual, it's logical. So in that side, it'd be like more analytical, more precision,
Yeah.
more like I'm playing to the judges. All this very like meticulous, you know what I mean? Like this
Detailed
guy's like,
description. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah. It's
teaching
like
of it.
very high precision, right?
Yeah.
And then pathos is ethical, where it's basically embodiment, you know?
Hmm.
So like I am a bodybuilder and the poses that they're hitting is like very rooted in like their firm understanding of their identity. This
Hmm.
is who I am. And like I'm standing up for my version of what bodybuilding is supposed to be, right? What we're going to do so far is the origin of posing katas. At the center, you want to hit all three.
Yes.
You know what
Balance.
I mean? You want
Yeah.
to hit all three. 20 years in the future, we'll have athletes focusing on different,
Mm.
areas, but everyone's going to understand that the goal is to hit that fucking center
Yeah.
where you have pathos, ethos, and logos
Yes.
expressed in one posing routine.
That's amazing. Yeah. That ties into my exact thoughts and like way of thinking philosophies. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so what do you got? What do you got?
Oh, all right. Well, let me just gather my thoughts here. So we'll just, yeah. So, oh, what would you say out of all the martial arts is the most respected black belt?
That's a great question. A question I've never asked before.
Just one sec, okay? And then I want you to follow up. What would you say is the least respected black belt?
Okay. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be terribly wrong, but I would have to say the most respected black belt. I don't know, Taekwondo.
Most? Okay. And least?
Uh, this is hard.
Okay.
Karate.
Maybe. All right. So I come from martial arts background. So the most respected, if you ask anybody, is going to be jujitsu.
I wanted to say jujitsu.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, and then the least respected, ironically, would be taekwondo. Now,
it's the
let
one
me
that I
cook
was
here.
training in.
Let me cook here. I'm gonna tie this into
I love it.
bodybuilding.
I love it. I love it. I
Uh,
love it.
so there is like out of Taekwondo, there's like all right, Taekwondo were what just one I had it wrapped up in my head. I'm tripping on my words. All right, so Taekwondo, there I'll start with jujitsu.
Okay.
I'm losing it here.
No, it's there. It's there.
All right. So jujitsu has expanded with a strict standard of promotion. Okay, there it is. They have built, doesn't matter which gym, jujitsu has expanded their art with a strict standard of promotion through the ranks. Now, Taekwondo, on the other hand, expanded very rapid and very far past its origins to where their standards of promotion got skewed through the expansion, right? That's why when I was 15 years old, I was a green belt. I was beating second degree black belts that were grown men, right? But I guarantee that any black belt in jujitsu can put you in a pretzel. Anybody, right? They're
I see where
held
you're going
in
with
to
this.
that high standard.
Yeah.
Now, here's where I'm going to tie it to bodybuilding. The black belt is the equivalent to a pro card,
Okay.
right? No matter what the division, black belt, what that means is it's your first level of proficiency,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I believe that that pro card, doesn't matter the organization, is that first level of proficiency. Now, what I guess what I'm saying is that I don't want to see any organization's pro status become that Taekwondo black belt, where you're not you don't have a strict standard of proficiency in all areas of the sport.
Right. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, what you're talking is, do you think that's currently happening within the sport of bodybuilding?
I mean, there are certain organizations that I feel are promoting bodybuilders that are not well rounded. Just like a martial artist, you want to be as well rounded as possible to get that black belt. That's your first level of proficiency. Now, there are many more levels to mastery,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
the first level of proficiency should be a full, well-rounded athlete that should have the posing and the performance, right?
Yes.
Lots of the bodybuilders, they have the physiques, they know how to hit the poses, but like what I want to see more of that full, well-rounded athlete able to move, right?
Yes.
In and out
Yes.
of pose, not being restricted by their own body. Um, yeah,
We're on the
that's
same
what I
page.
would like to see moving forward, especially in the natural division. The
Yes.
performance should be very yeah,
Way
the
higher.
performance should be an even bigger part of it because of the lack of
Yes.
freak show enhancements, right?
Yes. All right. So we're on the same page about that. And so far as the Natty King anime, especially for the first season, it's got to be posing.
Yeah,
It's got to be posing, you know? So we got to jack up the quality of posing across the board for natural athletes, just period. And you and I and other athletes, I think Matt Butali already has it. In fact, I was even thinking of reaching out to him to see if he was available for this call, but I'll just circle back around to him later. But like, we need posing aficionados to
yeah,
set the standard, and we have to make it clear that if you are not at the standard, you are not considered among us.
yeah,
As like you don't have all the tools.
yeah,
You get what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, yeah, you might have a nice physique, but if you can't pose like a posing master,
yeah,
then you still have work to do.
yeah. That's like, yeah, getting that all the standards up to
Correct.
proficiency, right?
Correct. Correct.
Like you would never, yeah, most respectable gyms that have a belt system, right? They're not gonna promote somebody that's lacking in a certain area or a certain technique,
Correct. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And to disclaimer, like I believe that a belt is only gonna be as good for holding up your pants as Bruce Lee would
Oh, yeah.
say,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But yeah, so right now I think that's where pro status is at. I would say is like, sure, they might have that pro card, but what's their true level of proficiency, you really don't know. It could vary drastically depending on the athlete. And
Yeah.
like just making that more standardized as bodybuilding grows will, help the sport grow as a whole.
Yes, I very much agree. And I'll tell you, my current formula for how I want, and again, I'm all about power scaling. You mentioned Dragon Ball Z, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Dragon Ball was the original anime, then it became Dragon Ball Z, then it split off into Dragon Ball GT and Super and Diamond, all that stuff. But at the core of what Dragon Ball was, the first couple episodes, it was just about martial arts.
Hmm.
And they would throw in like some special techniques of like, after image technique, the Kamehameha wave, but that came later. It was about martial arts when it first started. So when it comes to the Natty King anime, I really want to build the foundation of that anime on the fundamentals, the philosophies, the ideologies, and the discipline of natural bodybuilding. And I want to spend time just there, you know? My formula again is like analysis plus creativity. Because
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about. Attention
exactly.
to detail, high level of nuance and meticulous. That goes back to the logos, right?
Yeah,
And we expand from there. We encompass that entire triangle of logos, pathos, and ethos.
perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That being said, Posing-katas, that's gonna be. I mean, like, you're the perfect person to talk to. That's why I reached out to you
yeah.
immediately. Um, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts? Because
I
it's
mean,
gonna take some. Yeah,
that would be a great jumping point, like a jumping off point for anybody who wants to start to learn bodybuilding, like the true art, right? Having that graduated system of katas that will teach you all the movements you need to know before you need to know them, kind of like the Miyagi, like Miyagiing somebody, right?
yes, yeah,
Getting the movements and taking the movements from real life, right? All the fundamental primal movements that you need to do in real life, all those primal throwing movements, all those primal like hunting movements that you can add into that, right? And then all those primal like fighting movements that you can add in transition. Uh,
yes,
yeah, I'm getting like goosebumps and shaking
yeah.
just thinking about it.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked. It hit me. I mean, we had to meet for the record. You and I had to meet. Yesterday, I finished a leg day and I went into the posing room and I started posing. I was just messing around and like it was a 3 minute video. It was the first time I recorded myself posing ever, well, like in a while.
Got to
After
get on it.
after,
Gotta get
after
on it.
meeting you,
Yeah,
it was my first time posing my videoing myself posing after meeting you. So like I noticed the first minute it was like normal
yeah,
Shaun Fury posing, and then something happened where about like a minute and 30 in, something like happened in my brain where I just stopped thinking,
yeah,
and I kind of just went into this like I don't care, like just
yeah,
keep moving, and all of a sudden there was like a flow and a fluidity that like the rigidity went away, and all of a sudden I just like kind of tapped into this moment of like effortless movement, right?
exactly.
Yes, and it would not have happened if I was not watching your Instagram stories, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
honored to inspire just one person. Like if I
Oh,
can,
dude,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like you and I and other people who are like a part of this like this generation,
yeah,
we should start identifying ourselves as like the leading standard for what posing needs to look like,
yeah,
specifically for natural bodybuilders.
yeah, yeah,
Specifically for natural bodybuilders, like we're the standard. I also think that if we're working backwards from the anime, posing has an opportunity to take center stage, not necessarily in bodybuilding competitions, but
yeah.
perhaps there's like pose off things where
Oh,
like
oh, oh, oh. You're hitting on some topics that I don't want to release just yet, but I
okay,
already have in the works.
okay,
Um,
okay, all right. Well, I'm glad that I know you then. I'm glad
yeah,
that I know you. Because like again, like I'm looking to work backwards. So if we have like two rival athletes in the Natty King anime and like they're
yeah,
both like, protoges of
yeah,
something, and it's like, oh, who's better? Who's gonna like end up
oh,
on this?
yeah. Sorry, continue.
Yeah,
I'll
no,
add
no,
on
no.
to it.
That was it. It's like, okay, so we can even have like pose offs at
Yeah.
gyms, and
So
like they could be like public events.
so that's hitting on exactly what I'm cooking up here. I mean, I want to develop this to give away to bodybuilding because bodybuilding, it needs a game for training. It's missing that training game, right? Martial arts has sparring, right? All these different like games you can play evolve around it, and I have that game. I have that
Ready?
game,
I'm ready.
right? I want to start this game and challenge people to it. uh, I just want to find the best way to make it as marketable as widespread as possible. Because that game can play exactly into the anime, having that like, that bravado, that rap battle, that, you know,
Yeah, so we've been thinking the same thing similarly. Like, I was thinking about this even before I met you, and then meeting you just accelerated it.
yeah.
So, like I said, you and I were destined to meet, and I love how you move. I love like the way that you pose is unlike anyone I've watched pose ever. You know,
Oh,
like
thank, thank
like
you, thank
you're very
you.
experimental. You're very experimental. You're really just having fun. You're not trying to show off. You're just like I see an exploration.
Yeah, that's what I'm in a process of right now. Sure, like I'm beating myself every time I see like a pose that I could tweak in a better way or something that I'm not activating, but I need to like second guess myself. This is just an experiment right now. I'm just trying to move in different ways to expand into different realms and possibilities that I can sharpen up and hone when I am creating that routine for a client or for myself down the line.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're absolutely on the same page. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what the landscape for opposing katas could look like. Nothing set in stone yet, but I
Oh,
totally see tremendous value. If we're pulling aspects from martial arts, you've got forms that are memorized, choreographed forms, and
yep.
then you've got like what do you call that?
Free flow, yeah, like,
Free flow, right?
or well, like if you're talking about like the competition, there's like, yeah, special forms is what it
Yes.
would be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, special forms, special forms. Okay, so again, working backwards, what I think would be really cool so far is this like gamified version, and I think it would be really cool to see. All right, so let's say you've got like two posing athletes, and they're going up against head to head in like in a pose off, right? I see an opportunity where if we correctly build out, let's say, ethos, logos, and pathos, we can kind of make it maybe like a rock, paper, scissors, where like during the pose off, let's say an athlete is using ethos, which is like the emotional, right? And
Mm,
he really like feels like the audience is seeing it. It's like, oh my god, he's really captivating us
mm,
with his like emotional expression, right? And then in order to respond, the next athlete now has to respond with I don't know ethos to like and like that's the
mm,
response to pathos.
mm,
You know what I mean? But they have to have like all of them in their wheelhouse in order to correctly work with the
mm.
athlete that they're up against.
Okay. So I'm gonna take that ingredient and then I'm gonna expand on it here because so let's just share my idea. So my
Okay.
idea, the game of pose. Let's have a game of pose.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is a almost like a mimic or Simon Says style, right? So where you can take like you're gonna take a movement and transition and hit a pose, right? Then that person needs to follow up in that same manner and be able to transition just the way you did and hit that pose. Then they get to move forward and transition into their pose. And then it's a back and forth game of who can hit and nail those poses back and forth, right? And nailing the transition, being meticulous in detail to hit each pose the same way as that other person, right?
Kind of
Or
like
adding the
quartz.
little flair in transition to make their transition better than the other person,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then through that back and forth, Simon Says the second somebody messes up, they lose the round. they get a letter. That's P, right? Then they go round for round. Who wins P? Who wins O? Right? First person to spell pose, they
Yeah,
lose,
yeah, yeah.
right? And
Hmm.
then so from there, and in the anime perspective, they can use those different pathos, ethos, and logos in those individual moves to like add power ups or whatever to the audience perspective. And then ultimately, there can be a determiner or like a crowd say or a crowd perspective of the contest, right?
I think it's there. I think it's 100% there. Um, a couple of thoughts as you're talking. I was also thinking, all right, so Demon Slayer, when, let's say the main guy, his name is Tanjiro, when he first started, it was water breathing. So whenever he would slash his sword, the animation showed like rivers of water
Yeah.
that he's like splashing with, right? I also see like, okay, so what if we use like certain poses as like primers, like the front double by, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if when an athlete hits that front double by and maybe the way that they hit it, it's sending a subliminal message to the audience that can be perceived in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're receiving the mental image of the athlete as they're hitting the front double body. And then the athlete that they're competing against, they have to now work with that same mental image and respond to it with their own mental image that the audience is
Mm-hmm.
also seeing. So it kind of becomes like a battle that you're seeing physically through posing, but you're
Yeah.
also seeing it play out mentally between the two athletes.
That's a whole like different dimension to it. Jesus.
Yeah.
Like when it's on that multi-planar, like years down the road fashion, like when everything's all built out, that yeah,
I
that
think I think that's how we have to do it.
yeah,
And we, like, our job and responsibility is to really elevate the posing landscape between now and the next 20
yeah.
years so
Make
that it
post
makes
great.
sense. It
Yeah.
makes sense for like the athletes in the Natty King anime to be that good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then add all like the gymnastic arts into that too, like, and then add the props of like weapons forms,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
That gives,
it can get really crazy. But I see posing as like one of the fundamental art forms and power systems for the anime.
yeah.
Yeah, especially for like the first couple of seasons before we actually start getting into like bigger power scaling. I've already got plans for that, but we don't have to talk about it. We don't have to talk about it.
So you're saying each fundament each fundamental area of forms like the earth, the wind, the fire,
Mm-hmm.
the
If
air,
we're talking about elements, yeah,
right? So the elemental posing forms and developing those katas, those will be like that initial source of power, right? Power up,
and it's
right? Then
perceivable.
yeah, and then come once somebody has mastered all of those elemental forms, then they can go on to the further power up that would be ethos, logos, and pathos, developing their full character into a balanced and proficient
Yes.
bodybuilder all around. And that is like their first level of proficiency.
Yeah.
And then each person who walks that journey will have that unique journey to that first level of proficiency,
Yeah.
and then it just like skyrockets with all the different elements that we can throw in from there.
Yeah. It's all
Yeah.
about mastery. It's all
Yeah.
about the journey of master. So if we were to take the hero's journey, the best relatable real world example of the hero's journey is greatest of all time and mastery. So
Hmm.
like being the greatest of all time in the specific sport that you've chosen, let's say Tom Brady, Michael
Hmm.
Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, that's a great hero's journey, but also mastery within a discipline.
Hmm.
And between you and I see more value in presenting natural bodybuilding as a discipline similar to martial arts than a sport. Because I think the enhanced side already has like they already have like it's like a freak show, it's a sport, it's like oh my god, blah blah blah. If we market and promote natural bodybuilding as a discipline that emboldens your mind and your body and your spirit with growth and pursuit of excellence, that's way more marketable, and it's not being explored by the enhanced side because they can't explore it. They cannot explore it.
Yeah, there is a problem with gamifying it, the sport, too
Yeah,
much, right? Making it into a sport, right? It's
yeah,
again going back to Taekwondo. That's another way Taekwondo became kind of like that joke is like they made it too much of a sport,
yeah.
right? They got rid of the art. Not saying that there aren't Taekwondo guys that are absolute killers, but it's like it's that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's another reason why I said Taekwondo because the one time when I was training in Taekwondo, they were elite. They were like Olympic level
Yeah,
Taekwondo
but
artists.
even Olympic level Taekwondo artists, they're only training to score a point. They're not training for the real life situations of life,
Yeah,
right? Just like those pro level bodybuilders, they're not training for the real life situations of life, right? To train for that fully functional and yeah,
and
being
that's
adaptable.
exactly why I see how posing is tremendously undervalued because what I'm seeing across the landscape, at least within the environment that I'm inhabiting, is that people are having issues with confidence, right?
Mm,
So I don't know if you've ever heard like have you ever heard of like the Superman pose where like you stand up and you put your hands on your
mm.
hips? All right, so apparently psychology suggests that if you were to hit the Superman pose periodically throughout the day, just stand up, like stand straight and tall, put your hands on your hips, and it's going to create a mentality in your head that you are heroic, right?
Oh, geez. Uh, my, I catch myself in that pose a little too often.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding posing has the opportunity to do the same thing so far as affecting the
Mm,
mind state of the athlete performing these powerful poses,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
As they continue to master the movement, they're also altering their brain
Yeah. And
into
through
thinking,
and then through altering their brain, they transmute that emotion to the audience of
correct.
people who don't understand that feeling. So they're like, whoa, right?
Well, you and I get it. You and I
Yeah,
get it. We're 100% on the same page.
for sure.
Yeah. We're talking like we're revolutionizing the fucking sport, bro.
It's going, yeah, one step at a time.
I
I'm
know.
ready for it.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so other thing I wanted to add. So I know that like choreographed posing katas is honestly it's never been done. So we should take our time building that out. I want to do some additional research as to like you mentioned Taekwondo. Okay, so if I walk into like a Taekwondo dojo and I say first form, is it the same first form in every single Taekwondo dojo? Like I don't
N-
know that answer.
No,
Okay.
no, because it's not standardized.
Okay.
Like but and each jujitsu school will have their school of like teaching, right? They'll have their grading system. They'll have, their way to climb the ranks because jujitsu is more standardized. Now, each different school has a different way of teaching it, right? And but their levels, their strictness of like promotion and making sure that if they're going to promote somebody, they are up to that belt level requirement of standard proficiency,
Mm-hmm.
right? That as far as I know, jujitsu, it's very strict. But like taekwondo, I've never seen that. I've seen just very loose standards because they're trying to promote based on a sport, right?
Okay.
They're not trying to promote based on the level of proficiency of actual fighting, which is
Mm-hmm.
martial arts,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and yeah, it all depends on the levels of the gym, and it's very subjective. But as a whole, that's what I see it as.
Yeah.
But
So let's
as far
say.
as
Mm-hmm.
forms, to go back to the forms, I think the beginner forms should teach the primal movements of bodybuilding, right? With the proper thoracic rotation, with how to learn your shoulder blades, how to learn all those things in a Miyagi format. Yeah, I'll let you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's say because my like best case scenario, and again, if we're working backwards from an anime that takes place 20 years in the future, we got 8-year-old athletes who want to be the next Natty King, and they're signing up with the original 30-man team to
Mm-hmm.
learn from because like we did it first. You know.
Yeah.
By the way, you got to be on the team, but I'm thinking of casting you in 2026. Just so you know. But we'll circle back around to
Yeah.
that. All right. So yeah, we got like 8-year-old athletes who are like coming up to like Yoshi and Shaun Fury and like,
Yeah.
take me under your tutelage. I want to be the next Natty King. Let's
Yeah.
say there's like natural bodybuilding schools.
Yeah.
Mandatories are boring. There's only like like 6 mandatories. I
Mm.
think every pose that's ever been done should be taught.
Mm-hmm.
Like all poses should be taught. And obviously
Yeah.
there's levels of difficulty and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
Then you've got the katas, right? And you've got beginner, intermediate, and expert and advanced and all that stuff. And like we have time to build all that out over the
Oh,
next several years.
I have it just plotting in my head. Like I know exact because like my main passion is just teaching movement. So like I already know how to build it from the most elemental or
Mhm.
atomic movements all
That's
the
what
way through to the most advanced
Yes,
concepts,
yes,
right?
yes, yes. And can we also take it back to the fact that again, if my observation with just like people in my environment, I'm not like I've never been to China. I don't know what Chinese people are like, but the environment that I'm inhabiting, people have confidence issues. So
Mm-hmm.
if we can teach movement that empowers them, because one thing that you've taught me is that it's the transitions of the poses.
Mm-hmm.
That's the movement.
Yep.
So if we can teach people to how to move more fluidly
Yep.
between their posing transitions
No
and
doubt.
apply that to how they move through the world,
Yep.
that's value.
Yes, sir.
That's tremendous value.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know?
Another
It,
one of my like taglines or brand like core values is movement equals self-improvement. Any smallest step, right? Movement equals self-improvement and
yeah,
starting that from the smallest thing all the way up to the biggest thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So you've done martial arts.
Yeah, yep.
So you've got the background as to like, all right, so we've got some time. Obviously, there's no rush on any of this stuff. But yeah, posing katas off the top of your head, like, and I gotta do
So
research on my own.
I
But let's
don't
say it's like,
I
mm-hmm,
don't know like traditional martial arts. No, I train more mixed martial arts with
okay,
a taekwondo emphasis.
okay,
Right? It had a Taekwondo belt system, but it was more mixed martial arts,
okay,
kickboxing, boxing.
okay,
But I did do Taekwondo tournaments, but I never really trained in the katas or forms.
got it. Okay,
Yeah,
all right. So what I would like to build out over like the next however long it takes, we've got
yeah,
20 years.
yeah.
Actually, we have less than that because if we were to go into production on the Natty King docuseries in 2028, then we do the Natty Queen. I would want the anime. I would want like ideally 2030 or 2032, the first season of the anime. So we have
Mm.
until now until like 2030ish to have
Oh,
like the katas down.
yeah.
Yeah. That being said, so I see having names for all bodybuilding poses that we can teach. Let's say like, okay, hit your hit form, whatever, right?
Hmm.
And then we've got the katas. Off the top of your head, how many katas for beginner? And this is like we can change this number in the future. But like, how many beginner katas do you think should be there? How many intermediate and
I
how many
mean,
advanced?
if you go through like if you relate it to the martial arts belt system, right, you would have
Mhm.
a kata for each belt, right? Traditionally, you would have like the traditional taekwondo, karate, martial arts schools that are around katas and doing that performance martial art, right? They would have a kata for each belt system, right, or for each belt as you promote up the ranks, and each uh, you would have to perform that kata and have it graded, and that would incorporate all the skills that you've learned within that belt to show your level of proficiency.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so check this out. I'm just thinking off the cuff here. We've got different advancements in difficulty for katas, and that allows athletes to accelerate and continue to develop their skill level. And then at the master level, that's when it really opens up, and we've got katas for expressing different emotions, katas for expressing different elements,
Yep.
katas for like it's like all over the place,
Yeah.
you know. And like
Yeah.
that's but like that's only accessible after you've gone through.
Yeah. So I would say contextual elements, right? You can switch up the elements, you can switch up the emotion, yeah, immediately based off of the context and situation you need it to apply to.
This is so complex. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I would say that's not mastery, right? The Natty King is should be the pinnacle of mastery. There should only be that one master, right? Maybe down the line there'll be like different masters that get inducted into that, that goated argument, right? But just to get to that first level of proficiency, then there's the 30 main athletes that are in that level of proficiency, battling it out with their different schools of thought, with their different ethos, pathos, logos, and teaching and bringing up those next generations
Yes.
and having all those story
Yeah.
arcs and lines that
Yeah.
crisscross.
Wow. My mind is blown.
Mine as well. I don't know
Yeah.
where it's coming from.
Yeah. No, that like, goddamn. Shit, man. This is amazing. Well, I knew that we were going to sync up like mentally on this.
Perfect.
I love the yes anding. How do you feel about like the expansiveness of what we're talking about and like the execution of it? How do you feel about that? You're already
I
posing.
mean,
You're already taking clients.
oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
been a posing coach since 2016.
Okay.
So like that's nothing. Like as far as like working with people, like routines, I'm not saying like they come from me, they come from outside of me. I feel like I just have that ability to channel that muse in that moment, but
Hmm.
also communicate with the client and work with what they want, right?
Okay.
So, but if a project like that, I can already start breaking down the fundamental poses and katas, and I feel like that would be just gravy to create in no
Yeah.
time,
I'm
and
glad
being
that we're.
able to have a storyline behind each one and the reason and meticulous
Yes.
description that logos all the way through, right?
Yeah, we're on the same page. We're on the
Yeah.
same page. Yeah, and I'll also let you know that I'm pretty smart myself. People are already starting to identify me as smart, but like I got a friend who's like
Glasses.
way smarter than me, and he's kind of like my right hand man, my COO. He's like in the shadows, but like he loves martial arts. He wants to see me incredibly successful because in the event that I end up becoming a millionaire, he gets a $500,000 retainer, and then he gets annual salary of 300,000. So like he's got personal investment in this.
Yep.
So like
Skin.
he's working on this too. He's very smart. I sound like Donald Trump. Very smart.
Very, very amazing guy. The best, the greatest.
But he is. He is. I love this guy. I love this guy.
Yeah.
So it's three minds. I say all that to say it's three minds on this, and three really good minds. So like I'm fucking stoked. What do you need from me? Like because I feel like I really gotta catch up to you. I'm tapped in, but like I just don't have the experience.
I'm like, what do I need from you? I mean, I'm just steady working away at my own things. Like, uh, I got some things in the work, like trying to bring my posing and systems to more and more people, right,
Okay,
through Canada. Like, yeah, starting locally, and then the goal is to go globally, right?
love it.
But my whole thing right now is I'm building out my systems as a graduated system of movement through training, as well as posing, as well as nutrition, like
Mm.
pretty much a school
Yes,
from the
yes,
most immobilized, unaware person
yeah,
to build them up into their pinnacle of health and fitness, right?
yes.
See, I've found it hard to pinhole myself or give myself a niche because I feel like I have the ability to look at all walks of life and still assess where they are and help the problem solving process the whole way up. So my goal right now is just I'm building out that whole graduated step with the ethos, pathos, logos, all educated throughout.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes complete sense. When I think of the lore building, the mythology, and like I'm right there with you. Like every kata should have its own story. Like it should
Hmm.
have its own explanation. It's like this is the beginner level kata. Like this is the kata that all future natural bodybuilders should know, and they should learn it first. And this is why. This is the origin, and like
Yep.
each kata should have that backstory.
Yep.
And that's really what I meant by it's like, do you need anything from me so far
Mm.
as that's concerned? But
Okay.
we honestly like, I think you and I like we connect really well, and I think we also do a lot of thinking outside of these conversations.
Yep.
So like the seed has been planted here in this conversation, and it
Yep.
will
And
continue to sprout. And
it'll
then the
just
next time
grow.
we talk, we can add on to it, and we'll be
Yep.
adding on to it outside of
I
this
mean,
conversation.
I'd be happy to hop on a posing session with you anytime just to like go over like what that might look like, right?
Yes.
And in
Yeah.
its origins of
Yeah.
forms and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Okay. This is
yeah.
great. My mind is swimming, but I think we've reached a good stopping point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
So this is great.
just
I'm gonna go fucking. I'm actually going to a sauna. I'm gonna sit in a sauna for a bit.
yeah, let those thoughts ruminate and boil. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Okay. Well, I'm stoked. We're changing the game, bro. This is super cool.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on another one and just keep it rolling for the next time.
Amen. Amen, bro. Have a great weekend. I will talk to you soon.
You as well. Peace.
All right, man.